Developing a good sprawl is a crucial part of any self-defense regimen. You need to know how to sprawl because it's really the most effective way to defend yourself against somebody trying to wrap their arms around your waist, go for a double leg, or even just get low and close and pick you up and dump you on your head. If you can stop that early by shooting your legs out behind you and basically weighing your chest down on that person, preferably on their shoulder blades or somewhere along their back, to kind of pancake them into the ground as they shoot in on you, it puts you in a massively advantageous position, especially if you're going to get back up on your feet and either flee or continue to fight. Or if you're grappling, you're already on top of somebody. The best they can do is being in a turtle position, which is really not great at all. And then you can just kind of have your way with it and do whatever you want. So one of the biggest challenges that have come up with my clients when I train them on how to sprawl is physical limitations. This is really normal. And if this is you, I hope this is helpful. Bottom line is, if you're young or you've been an athlete of some sort for a long time, or you've been training for a long time, sprawls come pretty naturally and easy to you. It's not a hard thing to do. If you're going to your first MMA or jiu-jitsu or some kind of self-defense or judo or whatever class, anything where you're going to be using sprawling, you are going to find that maybe your body doesn't do it quite as fluidly or fast or effectively as other people in your class, and that's just fine. I mean, I know plenty of people that have gotten started on training in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and I know there's plenty of 70-year-olds out there in gyms as well. So if you're having trouble with sprawls due to mobility limitations, fitness level, anything like that, this is for you. So just briefly, ideally in a sprawl, if I'm thinking about it in terms of doing it from my fighting stance, I'm going to see an invisible line where my front foot is, and I want my hands to go to that line as I bring my weight down, go to my hands, and shoot my legs out behind me like such. I practice it this way because I want my hips to be heavy on my opponent. Oftentimes I will have them sort of twisted to one direction or the other, and I want my chest to be heavy on them as well. And then I'll just pick myself back up. So just a basic drill we do is we have one opponent get low like this to signal for a sprawl as you're moving around. And when they see that, boom, straight into that sprawl, straight back up. As you get a little bit more comfortable with this, changing your angle as you get up from the sprawl is kind of the next level. However, this doesn't work for everybody. As I mentioned, some people have limitations. So for those people, I usually tell them first that they need to get good at getting nice and low, getting their hands to the ground first, and then shooting their feet out. And then depending on which way their hips are rotated, if at all, if they're neutral, then they've got the choice of either. But getting a foot up and under them to get back up, and then using that to bring yourself back up into your fighting stance. That's about the best that you can do to be able to utilize the technique while you're still building strength to do it. Because really, if you can't do something, it's usually a matter of strength or flexibility. Those are the two things that kind of will roadblock you from success in your technique. So let's look at ways to build that strength so we can make that sprawl stronger. We're basically going to take it down to the components of the movement, you know, from start to finish, and look at ways that we can implement some exercises to make that better. And this is all really basic stuff that anybody knows how to do. So number one is burpees. Burpees are almost the same motion, and doing them continuously is really good for your cardio. This will get you quicker getting up and down off the ground. Burpees are real simple. I'm going to stand in a neutral stance, and I'm just going to basically replace my feet with my hands as I kick my legs out, and then I'm going to bring them back to where my hands are and come back up. Now, you can make variations on this. You can do a push-up midway through the burpee. You can do the push-up, put a little jump at the end of your burpee as you go into the next one, etc. And then to level that up, I'll take a pair of not too heavy dumbbells and I'll put them on the floor in front of me or beside me in sort of more of a suitcase style. It just kind of depends on how you want to do it. I'll do the burpee, maybe add the push-up, and then as I come up, I'll bring the weights with me. And then I'll drop them, do the burpee, and just bring them up. That's helping my lower body get stronger to get me up off the ground quicker. So that's one thing to do. The other one, this is kind of painfully obvious, but just basic forward and backward lunges, both legs. And of course, you can do these weighted. You can keep the weights to your side, suitcase style. You work against it like that. You can go to your shoulders and work it like this. I'm sure you can see how this connects to our sprawl because I can get down, but I got to get back up. So having the ability to leverage myself up with one leg if I need to is important. Ideally, I'm just jumping from my hands to my feet. But if I can't do that, I have to start with one leg. So I got to strengthen that leg. But I want to strengthen both legs to be able to get up on my feet. And that's where something even more basic and ubiquitous comes in, that being squats. Feet a little wider than shoulders width apart. I'm going to put my arms out in front of me as kind of a counterbalance to make sure that I'm keeping my back straight. And I am just going to keep my weight in my heels as I take my butt to the floor and then bring myself back up. That's a very basic squat. I can add jumps to these. This will help you using your legs to get back up off the ground. I can add weights, the same thing I did with the lunges. And then the last thing, of course, is core work. So I totally recommend that you just do some basic sit-ups and crunches. And I like to do them alternating. So I will go crunch, full sit-up, crunch, full sit-up. You can add weights to those. You can do hand weights or you can do a vest. I also really like to do oblique exercises because you have to use a ton of core for a sprawl. And your obliques definitely come into play on this one. So a good one for me is to get into kind of a side plank and just work on dipping the arm in and out. You can, of course, add a weight to that. I'm going to go very light with this. I'm just going to use a 10-pound because you can knock yourself off balance very easy doing this. Like so. Really any variation on that works for you will help. So that's sprawls in a nutshell. That's how to get a little stronger with them. And strength and flexibility will improve your technique.